Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly live show. We have a returning guest today, the magnificent Rachel Jones, marketing manager at Kepler Academy and mother to Alex. And today we are talking about some burning questions you may have around care considerations during the back to school season. So welcome back, Rachel.
Thanks for having me. This is great. I
Thank
love
you.
your live show, your weekly show. It's awesome.
It's good to chat. And before we started, we were joking about glare and spacing. So why don't you tell us about what you're doing and being flexible right now to talk to us?
Well, workspaces are challenging, I think, and especially when you're coming into the office like our team is. We have to, of course, have at least 6 feet apart. So I'd set myself up in one area, but then I had to move into another. I think, you know what, it's okay. We make work what we make work. And if we don't have proper lighting and that sort of thing, that's all right. That's okay.
It's not a problem at all. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. So tell me, what are kind of 3 burning questions that you get as somebody who works for a childcare provider right now with many facilities and demanding regulation? What are the 3 questions that parents are asking you right now?
Such a good question. And oftentimes when parents are calling us, I mean, number one, what are the steps that you're taking for COVID? And I know we talked about this before when we were discussing this through your workshop show. And COVID is definitely something that's changed the way we work and the way parents experience childcare, kind of in subtle ways, but obvious ways. The way that they're coming in every day and leaving the center every day, and of course how their children are being cared for. That's the first most burning question for sure, because obviously, as parents know, childcare centers were shut down for a period of time. Luckily, as a center, we were open for kind of like right the week after the closure was announced. We were asked at 3 of our centers to remain open for essential service workers. So something that parents ask us, one of the burning questions is, what are the steps are you taking for COVID prevention? And then, of course, the other 2 questions that parents always want to know is, who are your caregivers and what are their qualifications? Who do you have caring for my little ones and my kids while I'm away during the day? And then typically, like what kind of care, what kind of approach do you take at your center? So, I mean, typical childcare questions, you'd be surprised, even in kind of a time with COVID and dealing with the pandemic situation. Parents are still definitely asking those regular burning questions, the really important ones that they need to consider. Something too that's coming up is flexibility and how can they kind of have childcare that'll work around their schedule too. So we're finding definitely like there's a lot of parents working from home, but they still need full-time care for their kids. Yes. And it's definitely important. It's an important question. And in the childcare space, I mean, we get asked this every day. So we're able to support parents kind of however they're working. And it's been really fun to be able to innovate in this space. And just to be totally clear, as a childcare provider, we're not in denial that COVID-19 is a threat and that it's happening. It's a very serious thing, and it's a very serious consideration with viral infections and children coming to group care. And every time someone thinks of the traditional daycare experience, they think of runny noses and kids getting sick and the spread of germs. So it's no surprise to us that they want to know the steps that we're taking to keep kids healthy and safe. And it's definitely something that comes up a lot, for sure.
So what does happen if a child has a runny nose and as cold season starts, parents must be wondering, will my child be out of childcare like 50% of the time? How will I handle that? Even if it's just a cold, what's the approach?
Yeah, the landscape has obviously totally changed. And as a childcare provider, just like any other childcare provider in the province, we have to be very careful that we're not creating policy around illness when it comes to children, even if it's something mild like asthma or a cold or even a runny nose, because this can be a real challenge for working parents, especially for single parents. It's funny, actually, Dr. Dina Hinshaw literally just addressed this topic on her last update, she talked about this very thing. And she was talking about how it would be exceptionally difficult for working parents. She said, this is not normal. Times aren't normal. A typical runny nose or a cough could mean something completely different. And as a childcare provider, we're not a health authority, and we're not here to, I guess, be telling parents, this is what this is, or this is what it could be. We just follow the really good advice of AHS and Dr. Hinshaw, and work with our parents. And all our parents have been really supportive, because I think they know that at the end of the day, we're all working together to make sure all these kids are safe when they're in care, and then when they're home, we make sure they're healthy as well. So something like a runny nose or a cold. So I'm not sure if I have shown this, or I don't think I had a chance to show you this last time we had our discussion, but this is a screening questionnaire. And I don't know if you've done this before, maybe if you go into your doctor's office or something similar like that. So usually businesses, especially businesses that have frequent visitors, or folks coming in and out of their premises a lot, they'll have, I guess, like their clients do the screening questionnaire. Please don't come if you're not feeling well today. Yeah. So in childcare centers, and also in the school system, maybe each school will deliver this a little bit differently, but all of our learning institutions, as children are coming back to school, especially as they're coming together in groups, and they're trying to be very mindful of the spread of viruses, they're asking parents to answer this questionnaire. So as a mom, my little guy just started kindergarten, and we made the decision as a family that he would definitely be attending kindergarten in person this year instead of distance learning. We decided we would do that, and what they did was they put this screening questionnaire in his lunch kit and sent it home with him yesterday. So we're able to take a look at it and think, okay, do you or your child attending our school have any of the below symptoms? Fever, cough. It says shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, sore throat, chills, painful swallowing, any of the following. And it includes quite a number of symptoms. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a lot on there. And you can access this online. This is the COVID-19 Alberta Health Daily Checklist. So I think it's really good, because what we're doing this year as children are coming back to school, and what we've been doing in a childcare space since March 23rd, I know the exact date that we've been doing it. When children started coming back to our centers, there was temperature checks every single day. When you walk into the center, you sanitize your hands first, then you take your temperature with a touchless thermometer, and then you fill out this exact questionnaire for Kepler. What we did was we took these AHS questions for screening, daily screening, and we have all of our families who come in the morning. They have to fill this out when they step into the center with their child, after they sanitize and take their temperature, and again when they leave. And it's exactly the same thing with the school system. So very basic stuff. So unfortunately, when it comes to things like a runny nose, even if it's from allergies or a cough from asthma, we're not a health authority, but we're following their advice. And their advice is that children do go home until they're either cleared and their symptoms are away. I believe it's 10 days. You also have to wait, or you can decide you can go and get a swab for COVID-19 just to make sure that everything's negative. It is a challenge. This is not our policy or requirement as a childcare provider. It's like a provincial requirement from AHS. Right. So it is tricky. You're right, and it's something that I think parents, I've even struggled with a little bit myself. So I understand the importance of having care for your kids and also being able to work. And I think we're all just kind of going through this together, and hopefully we come out successful on the other side. Mm-hmm. And I'm anxious to see how the first little bit of the school year goes for these kids, because I know they were all really excited. A lot of kids were excited to go back and see their friends. It's an important part for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. It will be a challenge testing parents' resilience. We're doing gratitude challenge this month so that we can overcome those feelings of overwhelm, truly, right? And see that despite everything we are facing, we're extremely privileged to have institutions supporting our decision making, right? Rachel, tell us, how has COVID been an opportunity for innovation in childcare? So gratitude for some things that may have forced us to look at the world differently and do things better.
Completely. It definitely, as a childcare provider and our whole team, we've started to really think about, our real, I guess, leadership position in the community. So oftentimes, maybe you're not thinking about it like that. Like, well, I'm a childcare provider. I'm an early childhood educator, and this is my job. It's my career. And oftentimes, this runny nose and different things is just part and parcel of your job. But now with this pandemic, these are unprecedented times. So our educators have really seen themselves in a different light. They're realizing just how important their role is, just how important they are as a role model for our kids. So everything they've done has changed a little bit, and they've had to innovate, even from the activities that they're doing with kids in the classroom. And this is the same with teachers. Maybe some children that are going to public school don't know the difference between, bringing their backpack if they're allowed to or not bringing their backpack. Little changes like that children might not notice, but schools are taking different steps to try and eliminate or prevent the spread of this virus. And same goes in childcare. Everything that we do now has this underlying foundation of always making sure that it's healthy and safe. So we're always thinking about health and safety, and we always were before, but now obviously with COVID-19, we can't let our guard down, and we can't kind of underestimate, this virus or what it can do. So we're always on alert. Our team has communicated quite a bit more. We always did before, but now it's way more frequently than we used to, always talking about the different steps we need to take. All of our centers sharing their best practices and what things have worked really well and what haven't. For example, now under COVID, we have to have check-in stations and folders for parents to sign in and fill out their questionnaire every day. So how do we do that? How do we make it safe for everybody to come into the center? Our work has just changed, and it's been a great way for us to actually look at things that were working well and what was not working well, and what can we do better as a child care provider. It's great to also see how the rest of the world is working on it and how they're innovating, and then we can apply some of those great things to what we're doing too. Our educators are the foundations of what we're doing, and our center directors have been amazing leaders through this. So they're literally they had to go from not dealing with COVID-19 to dealing with COVID-19 in a matter of a week and a half. And our whole team is just shifting. In May, when childcare centers reopened, they also had the opportunity to either serve meals and snacks or not serve meals and snacks. And our team quickly decided to do that, because we know for working parents, especially, moms, dads, parents of all kinds, it can be really tough when you're trying to pack 2 young children a lunch to go to daycare with. And as part of our services and the investment in childcare, because it is an investment for parents, we wanted to make sure we brought back that service to make sure kids have that great, healthy lunch and snack in the morning and afternoon, because it's an important part of making life easier for parents that are busy. That wasn't something that we necessarily had to do right away, but we did right away. We contacted the people that we needed to, and we've just innovated the way that we've been working. And as an office team, those of us who are supporting different functions at all of the centers, we have gone almost 95% digital. So most of the paperwork that we were doing and completing with families prior to this, we do it all digitally now. We weren't working a lot with kind of video platforms and video team meetings, but now we can call a meeting with the center directors across all of our centers in Greater Edmonton area and Sherwood Park, Spruce Grove, and St. Albert, and we can all be on a call within 5 minutes if we need to. It definitely it's made us change and grow that way, but as a team, and especially for all of our centers not being connected together, it makes it easier for us to communicate and deal with things in real time. So yeah, we went from kind of everything on paper or phone call meetings and in-person meetings to just everything digital right away.
Yes, processes that we thought would never happen and that we push for can happen in an instant. Rachel, I know you're very busy today. I'll ask probably one last question, and that is, what are some out-of-school care considerations? So parents are dropping their kids off at school, but school ends, and so what happens in those circumstances?
Yeah, that's a great question. So depending on the parent and the family, there are transportation services to and from various out-of-school care providers. And for us, we do have some schools that we drive to and pick up those children. And sometimes their parents pick them up and also bring them to our center as well. So every single family is a little bit different in how they handle that based on their schedule and their work and what they're able to accommodate. But we have vans that will be going and picking up kids to and from school. And again, there is health policy around the vans that we have to follow. We don't create it ourselves. What we're doing is eliminating and keeping everything sanitary. We have to do that regardless, but it's just at a different level now. Yeah. Also, too, we're navigating this kind of day to day. And I know you're probably aware of it, but even for schools, things change. You know, they just changed yesterday. They changed from centers like ours being able to have grades 1 through 6 children come for full days at our center and distance learn with their teachers. Now they can't. They can't do that. They have to do that from home. So things kind of change day to day. And as a childcare provider, what we do is we follow those guidelines. We follow what's going on with childcare licensing and AHS and what we're able to do. And then we put things into practice. So in certain circumstances, it can be difficult because you are kind of having to readjust your plan of what it looked like. But luckily, it's gone fairly smoothly. And we just have to be able to go and get those kids from school. Kids that would be riding our transport vans, we do ask that they wear a mask. So we're obviously working with the kids to do that and trying to make it fun, as well as the number of children. Our passenger vans for driving to and from school are quite small. You know, on an average day, they'd be between 13 and 15 seats. So if you look at a school bus that children are still taking to and from school, they might have, 30 to 40 children on it plus. And ours only have 13 to 15, but we're still only allowed a certain number. So we work on it, and we have to listen to the rules. And as we hear them, we adjust. And it can make it a challenge for us as a provider and also for families, but we all just work together. And I think it's made communication really positive and really good. And everybody's sort of understanding everyone's sides. And I like that part of it for sure.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time. And to close our show, Rachel, due to our gratitude challenge, what are you grateful for today?
I am grateful for Wow Butter. Have you ever heard of that before?
I have, yes. How you were?
I love Wow Butter. My little guy, now I have to pack lunches, which is something new for me, for sure. And I really miss having a chef just cooking snacks and lunches. And I've discovered this beautiful thing called Wow Butter that now I can send them a peanut butter and jam sandwich to school. So I'm grateful for that.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Have a lovely weekend. As always, lovely to speak to you.
You as well, Kenya. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.